Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? I'm hoping we're doing very well. Welcome to a quick stream, because we had a little bit of news earlier. A little bit of news that a lot of us won't be a big fan of, for very understandable reasons. I need to change this background, so I'm going to go to the full face version. 1 second. There we go. I had a little bit of news earlier on that not everyone is going to be a massive fan of, because a rumour has emerged, and a rumour is growing and seems to have a decent bit of weight behind it, that Leeds United could be suffering from a little bit of a problem at the moment, because as far as a lot of people have been discussing, Leeds are currently potentially at risk of goalkeeper Lucas Perri being out injured for a potentially extended period of time. Now, in terms of the sources of this news, it started out as rumour and wacko. It's become something that's been mentioned by Joe Donoghue and several other reasonably reputable sources that are sort of conversing around it. But in terms of the specific details, there isn't a ton at the minute. This is just one of those quick streams where I'm effectively going to do it as a video, so you guys hopefully have like all the information that you need, and I can't stream for too long anyway. But yeah, as far as everyone is aware, Perry injured, did so in training. We don't know specifically when. I'll get into why that matters in a little bit of time. And we don't quite know how bad it is, but I have heard from a couple of people now that it ain't looking good. That is one that could potentially keep him out for a little bit of time, which isn't really what you want to see. And then you get into the topic of squad registration, because this is going to become surprisingly important. The squad registration period for the Premier League technically starts on the 12th of September. Is it the 12th? No, it's the 11th. Thursday. On Thursday, we will discover the Premier League squad for Leeds United, because you have up until that date to put forward your squad of who is eligible, who isn't eligible to play during the Premier League for that registration period. It goes up until the window opens again in January, and then you can unregister players, you can register new players, all that kind of stuff. But this links in to the potential lack of move for Illan Meslier, because I think this is where that becomes especially important, because a lot of people will have looked at the Meslier not leaving thing and they will have gone, I guess we couldn't shift him. I think it's a little more confusing than that. I think the thing around Illan Meslier is we were looking at shifting him, and it didn't prove to be possible ultimately. Or at least it was incredibly difficult to do, or the other club couldn't match the valuation, etc., etc. But the conversation that was had from, right, is it Robbie Cook or is it Robbie Evans? It's Robbie Evans. Robbie Cook is the goalkeeper. The conversation that was had with Robbie Evans and a bunch of different journalists effectively said that Illan Meslier staying is best for him and the club, which brings into question the timing of the Perry injury, because if Perry was injured before Robbie Evans has his little bit of a chat, then it makes sense that Meslier being around is probably beneficial for the club. What is ultimately going to be something that everyone needs to keep an eye on, and this is going to have to be keep a very big eye on this, because it's going to be very indicative, is the fact that having a look through all of the players in advance of the window closing, everyone was looking at registration lists and everyone had assumed Bamford won't be on there because we've said he's leaving. Meslier won't be on there because he's going to leave, because he basically was. If Illan Meslier is on that registration list on Thursday morning, then I think there is a potential issue. Because in the event that Meslier is on that list, that tells me that we're thinking we might be relying on Illan Meslier, which means that it won't be a case of, okay, cool, Perry's out for a game or two. It's a case of, okay, Perry's out for potentially an extended period of time. Now, instead of Darlow, Cairns, Mahady, you don't want Cairns as your second choice goalkeeper in the Premier League. You end up going Darlow, Meslier, Cairns / Mahady, somewhere in that sort of territory. So that's a thing to look out for in a couple of days' time, which is going to be wonderful and fun. I'm going to do a video or stream that is sort of responding to all of that. It's also probably going to come out before the press conference, which is on Thursday, which is fairly important timing, because that's going to give us a little bit more insight without Daniel Farker having to speak on it, which I think is a relatively important thing for us to have an update on. But yeah, that's the general gist. Let me know what you're thinking in the chat, because I think this could be a very, very interesting season-changing thing. It could be worth a little bit of talk. When Henro asks, is it bad? We don't know yet. If we knew, I would have absolutely mentioned. But from a few different folk, I've heard that it's potentially worthy of registering Illan Meslier, and that means that it's potentially for an extended period of time. Injury struck FC, Evans' comments on Meslier might just be accurate. I think they will be, because I think that'll be... Because looking at the timeline, we played Newcastle on the Saturday, then it was the Sunday, which was just transfer windowy bits, then it was the Monday, which was the transfer deadline, and then comments happened, I think, on Tuesday. So I think in that Sunday will have been a rest day. In the Monday, Tuesday sort of territory, personally, I think that Perri has picked up that injury. And that's not going to be an ideal thing for us to be dealing with, I've got to be honest with you. Because as much as a lot of people immediately decided, no, I don't particularly rate Lucas Perri, I think Lucas Perri's a very, very good goalkeeper. And I think he's got a very, very high ceiling that will keep getting higher and higher if he keeps playing at a decent level. And it's the first time he's been injured in ages. And if you would have asked anyone, what's Leeds United's first major injury of the season going to be, absolutely nobody would have said, oh, it's going to be Lucas Perri. And it's going to bring Illan Meslier back into the fold. Because anybody in that situation goes, no, that's nonsense. That can't happen. That's going to be very silly. I've got a little bit of a theory that the Perri injury might have happened on deadline day. Because in the event that that happens, and we know that, well, at least it was discussed that Meslier had flown out to Lorient. In the event that the Perri injury happens before that transfer gets confirmed, we end up just cancelling that, which kind of lines up with the timeline. A little bit hard to say. Serbia nil England 2. I know I've got it on that monitor. Melia's like a bad penny. Yeah, it's... Who knows? Maybe he can do something for us. I don't think he will, but maybe. Maybe there's a world in which the redemption arc kicks in. At least Meslier never got injured. That's true. I mean, he wasn't injury prone, so that helps. Leeds suffer injury, going to get this phrase. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's the chance of it. It's not going to be the least commonly used bit of conversation that we have, which is going to be a little bit spooky. But what that does for the Fulham match is, I think every source that I'm aware of has said that Perri isn't going to be around for the weekend. We're not going to know for certain until Thursday. Again, this could be wrong, but reasonably reliable directions of news are saying that Perri is potentially going to be out for the weekend, which isn't really what you want to see. You add on to that the fact that we've kind of potentially got injuries in midfield. So Tanaka, we know, was injured. Ampadu, we know, was injured. That's not quite certain, because there's a couple of people that have been saying that that Tanaka and Ampadu might be okay for this coming weekend, which would be very nice. It'd be good to have Ampadu back in the 6, Tanaka and Stack as those sort of progressive midfielders. That would be fantastic. Just tuned in, who's injured? Lucas Perri. We don't know for why. Was Perri injured when we signed him? Yes, but it was less an injury than a bit of a training knock. So he didn't have huge problems when he was coming back. He didn't miss tons of training. He was almost immediately back into like team training. Weird thing, right? Do goalkeepers do team training? Or do they just do different bits? Because I feel like team training for a goalkeeper isn't going to be the most useful thing. Darlow better goalkeeper. Is he bollocks? Come on. Absolutely not. Darlow is not a better goalkeeper than Lucas Perri. I know that Perri hasn't had a ton of time to impress, but it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. I don't think Darlow's a better goalkeeper than Lucas Perri, though. That is jumping to conclusions to the next level. 1 second. What was I saying? Oh, I don't know. There we go. I don't think Meslier does only ever kick the ball to the opposition. I think that's a bit of a misinterpret. Like, admittedly, when he tries to go long, it doesn't work. But when a lot of goalkeepers try and go long, it doesn't work. That tends to be the thing. Meslier's a better keeper than Perri. That is pushing it. Even I, the biggest Meslier apologist for quite a long time, think that is pushing it. Maybe not. England played well in the first half. They did. It was quite good. I only watched bits of it because I was watching Jer's stream and preparing for this stream, but it was quite good. Headed in the right direction at the very least, which is all you can ask for. If England play interesting stuff ahead of the World Cup, then we can be happy. I think there's a chance that they don't for quite a while, which is going to be a little bit miserable, but they'll get there. So Joey dropped Longstaff. You have radio. What do you? Oh, yeah. I think. Okay, coming back from injury, and considering that, if he's fit to play, you start Ampadu, without doubt. Stack plays, because of course Stack plays, because Stack has been, I think, one of our best players at the start of the season. And then it's Longstaff or Tanaka, and it's a question of if Tanaka is fit enough for it, you play Tanaka. But Longstaff wouldn't be a bad shout either. I think it's a question of fitness for me. I don't think it's a wild take to prefer Tanaka over Longstaff. But if you do, then you do. It's your take to have. It's not a good one, but it's your take all the same. Some wild takes in the chat. I've not got a problem with wild takes. Wild takes keep things interesting. You know what else keeps things interesting? Popping a like on the stream. That'd be massively appreciated. Helps to push everything in the right direction and all that kind of stuff, as does being a channel member. It's $2.99 a month. You get a bunch of videos and everything early, which is absolutely spectacular. And subscribe if you haven't too. I'm going to do a little bit more of stream. Not tons, because I've got some other assorted bits to do for the evening, including some nursery stuff. So I was painting walls earlier. I might do a little bit of flat pack furniture. I don't know. I've not decided yet. But yeah, if I'm picking my expected lineup for the weekend already, what do you mean Gruev toxic? What? Why is Gruev toxic for calling out bullshit on a national level that his own FA agreed with? That feels like a bit of a wild one. If I'm going predicted lineup, I'm going to go Darlow, Bogle, obviously, Goodmanson, obviously. Biol is the question mark. Rodon starts for sure. I think maybe Strauch over Biol, because I don't know if Biol has earned a start quite yet. Midfield, if fit, Ampadu, if fit, Tanaka, and then Stack. If not, then it'd be Longstaff, Gruev. Forward positions, kind of interested in Nonto, Okafor, DCL. But if that doesn't work, then that doesn't work. If it ends up being James on the right, then that's fair enough. I don't mind that too much. But I think Okafor starting would be a pretty damn big benefit, and I want to see how that goes. I'm just curious over whose position he takes. Is it a case of Nonto goes up to the right? Is it a case of Nonto drops out? James is the one that plays. Big questions, interesting questions, fun questions, but questions for another time. Anyway, I am going to bring the stream to a close there because, again, bits to do. I'm going to do another stream tomorrow that is going to be one of the Football Manager streams. What we're going to do is we're going to take Leeds United a day or two before the window closes, and we are going to take Leeds to the end of the window, and we're going to build the squad that we want to, and we are going to ultimately drive Leeds to survival and success, which is going to be good fun. But anyway, gonna leave that there. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, pop a like on it, subscribe, be a channel member, and watch the stream from earlier where I bamboozled Jer into a quiz that he didn't realise was happening until the stream had already started. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Toodaloo.